Hey guys, it's Aaron, and I thought I would give you a general update of what my thoughts are with Rapture and Rapture timing. It's always good to just keep you updated and just share with you what I'm thinking. I can't wait for the wedding feast up there. I can't wait to do the food fight and just shake hands and all get along. So, guys, you need Jesus Christ in order to get to the kingdom. Jesus said he is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through him. We're waiting for this soon rapture. And here's my general timeline and general thoughts and where my thoughts are going to go towards my studying. Feast of Wine, when is that? It sounds like it's a bit of a mysterious feast. And I'm going to highlight Tu B'Av here, but I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of put on the temporary imminent hat in terms of maybe the rapture can be anytime June, July, that kind of thing. But I'm just going to highlight Tu B'Av here, which is August 1st at the same time. Again, I'm going to say a few things that I said in a video a week or two ago. Hanukkah 2030, if you minus 7.5 prophetic years, that gets you to Tu B'Av. 7.5, I've mentioned that a couple times. It took Solomon 7.5 years to build the temple. David reigned in Hebron for 7.5 years. We've got the extra 180 days in the book of Esther. So we've got the 7.5 year window to at least consider. And then also Day of Atonement, a popular, very heavily accepted time for the potential second coming of Christ. October 8th, 2030, you minus 7 prophetic years. That gets you to King Charles' birthday. COP28, we've got that. Basically, all the nations are going to be coming together right around the fall, and that maybe could be the beginning of Daniel's 70th week. And so the other thing, too, that I didn't add in the other video was Tisha B'Av, which is the 9th of Av, is sort of related to Tu B'Av because that's when they really acknowledged that the curse was lifted when they saw the full moon. Now, if you go on Wikipedia, they'll say that Tu B'Av is the 15th day of the 5th month. Now, the thing is, when you read the Bible, it just says the Feast of the Lord. So we don't really know what it is. In my Amplified version, it said, well, maybe it's Passover. Maybe it's Tabernacles. It's not really super clear. But my guess is it likely is Tu B'Av is because we had this reference in the book of Judges. I don't remember the actual verse. I think it's Judges 20. Maybe even Judges 21, where it says the tribe of Benjamin were waiting for 4 months. And most of the time when they went out to war, they'd go out in the spring. And so there's a whole story there at the end of the book of Judges. But basically, Israel went against the tribe of Benjamin because of that horrible incident that happened with the concubine. And so essentially, Israel came against Benjamin. Now that we can assume, we can guess that could have happened in the spring because that's when a lot of war happened. And then it says they waited for 4 months. So if that's the case, and this war against the tribe of Benjamin happened in the spring, count 4 months, well, then this 5th month, it could be a very reasonable time when they would have actually been in the vineyards. And that's the other thing too, the women were waiting in the vineyards, and that says on Wikipedia that it was a full moon. Do we know? I'm not quite sure. Again, we're kind of speculating here. It could be Passover, it could be Tabernacles, but it could be a hidden feast that's not too easily found. The interesting thing that I read earlier, I was reading the book of Philippians, and Paul says that he is from the tribe of Benjamin. He also mentions being like poured out like a drink offering in Philippians, and I think was it 2 Timothy chapter 4. I think he was saying that too. It was one of the T's in the Gospels. I'll come out with a better study soon, but I just wanted to talk openly about my thoughts here. And anyway, these women were dancing around the vineyard, and again, another clue, it could have been the time of harvest of grapes, or the first fruit of grapes, or et cetera, et cetera. So this is an interesting time. And also, Israel, they kind of consider Tu B'Av as a day of like, it's a Valentine's Day, it's the day of love, it's the day of matchmaking. And these two are kind of related kind of feasts. And anyway, if we do a little bit more math, if we go from Hanukkah, if we go back 1,260 days from a potential midpoint, so let's assume that Hanukkah would be the midpoint in this scenario, then that would get you back to July 14th of this year, 1,260 days. And this is in the wine season. It's close to Tu B'Av, which is the whole wine and grapes kind of theme. There's a lot of grape references all over the Bible. And also, I just went another 10 days because the abomination of desolation happened on the 15th day of the 9th month, but then 10 days later, according to the book of Maccabees, it was, I think it was when they slaughtered a pig on the altar. So if we go from that date and back it up, then that gets it to July 24th of this year. Again, getting very, very close to this Tu B'Av, Tish B'Av theme, right? If Tish B'Av, 9th of Av is July 26th, well, this is very, 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 very close. So I have two blueprints that I now kind of like to present in terms of the tribulation timeline. It's either I like Hanukkah being the midpoint or Passover being the midpoint of the tribulation. So basically, if the trib was to start the fall or a few months before the fall, then we could have a Hanukkah midpoint, and that would make so much sense because that's when the abomination of desolation happened. And then scenario number 2, blueprint, I like the theme of Passover being the midpoint because, Satan wants to do, copycat everything that Jesus did. And so I don't mind that theme as well. And then you would subtract, a certain amount of days and so on, etc. And I do like a rapture gap between the rapture and the beginning of trib. So that's my general thoughts. I'm going to be looking at more wine studies and grape studies and seeing how this all ties in with, the spring and the summer. I certainly still like some rapture dates in June as options. Because he was speaking about the seventh thunder being the season of the deer. That would still be in the month of June. I hope we get out of here as fast as possible, but for me, it kind of gives me a bit more structure when I kind of lay out a potential blueprint of how the tribulation might play out, and then I work backwards and try and figure out a potential rapture date. That's how I do it. Of course, we've all been batting zero, guessing all these dates. So yeah, I would love a June rapture or whatever with the deer thing. And if that doesn't fly, if we don't fly within the month of June, then I can see a lot of potential in July. With some math from the midpoint. And then if we're here longer, we'll deal with it. I don't know, but most importantly, guys, it's not to figure out the rapture date. The most important thing is to get into a relationship with Jesus Christ. Because time is short and you're not guaranteed tomorrow. So enter into a relationship with Jesus. It's all about a relationship. It's not a legalist thing. It's a relationship with him. He died. He created us because he wanted to have partnership with us. That's why he created us. There's no other reason. So, and that's part of the reason why we're on this world, so that we can choose to be in relationship with him. And in order to choose to be in relationship with him, he had to just allow us to go through the trials that we're going through, so we can basically, essentially, in a nutshell, pick our side. And so really, the most important question in your life is, do I choose Jesus or not? And so please, if you don't know Jesus, please accept him today. As we could potentially fly today, tomorrow, we don't really know. But yeah, we'll talk more about some deeper studies as I get more organized, and I'll present better verses and go from there. Okay, love you guys very much. See you in the clouds. Go Jesus, go. One day closer. Adios.